I like the little add in. They have to be naked to bring the coffee, otherwise it doesn't taste as good. Is that
Okay.
why?
Yeah. I mean, they might like put a little cream in the coffee with, you know, like a little foam on top, and then serve it. There's a lot of protein in there,
Yeah.
and it's a
Yeah.
protein coffee at that point.
Yeah,
So
it just turns into a shake. It's a protein shake. It's much better.
Pre-workout.
It's a pre-workout. Look, I get my coffee delivered. Welcome back to Swapping Secrets. My name is Jess.
And my name is Lawrence.
If you guys haven't already, please don't forget to spank that subscribe button. But today's topic is...
Queer relationships are beyond the stereotypes. So today we're going to be discussing queer relationships and talk about how they're often misunderstood, over-sexualized, or boxed into stereotypes. But the reality is it's far more nuanced, emotional, and deeply human. This week, we sit down with elite gay matchmaker and relationship expert, Daniel Cooley, who's going to be our guest today. More on Daniel in a moment, to help us unpack modern queer relationships beyond the cliches. We're going to explore the pressures unique to the LGBTQIA plus relationships, the freedoms queer couples sometimes have outside traditional relationship scripts, and what all couples, queer or straight, can learn from authentic communication and intentional intimacy. Whether you're queer, questioning, allied, monogamous, open, dating, or completely confused by modern relationships, this conversation should be for you. Just to tease what's coming up later as well, we're going to be in What the Tip.
In Just the Tip.
What the Tip? In Just the Tip, we're going to have brilliant advice or absolute chaos. I'm going to go for absolute chaos, I think. But let's hear more from our wonderful guest today, Daniel Cooley. Hello, Daniel.
hello, I'm so excited.
How
to be
are you?
here. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. Oh my gosh, it's awesome.
We always throw over to the guests to talk about themselves and you can fanboy over yourself and tell us all the things that are important to you and what's going on for you.
So I'm really excited. I'm wearing my Pride look because it's Pride. And, Pride is really special to me, actually, because I have been celebrating Pride for the past 20-ish years, not to date myself or age myself, since I was like 5 years old.
Yep.
And so I've been, Pride has always been something really special to me because I was made fun of a lot growing up. Being in West Hollywood and having gay pride here, it was just such a big deal for us, just to be free and just to be ourselves. And for me especially, I just felt like, oh my gosh, I can dance naked with the people in the showers on the floats. And I wasn't necessarily naked, but I felt like I could, I felt like I could just be me and be free and just be silly and be very gay if I wanted to and wear a wig and all the things. And so Pride has really brought out, I feel, a side of me that is very authentic. And I I feel like it brings out a lot in a lot of people. It brings a lot of memories, brings a lot of great things. So should I talk a little bit about me real quick?
Yeah.
What
I'd love to
drop
hear
it
I am
in.
and
We want to
stuff,
hear
or-
about you.
Okay. So, well, enough about Pride. We'll talk about me now. So I've done so many different careers, and every single career I've ever done, I've always connected people, and I've always been obsessed with the idea of love. I've always been love with the idea of love with the idea of falling in love, and I always wanted it. I always wanted it for myself. I always wanted to just love myself. There was just so much that happened growing up, so much rejection and not being able to be gay, be free. I pretended to be a straight man and, date women all up through high school and junior high and elementary. I even started kissing girls because people were calling me gay and fag and all this stuff. And, so um in my life, I found that I keep coming back to this thing where people are like, in my massage career, when I became a massage therapist, my clients were mostly gay men, and they'd always be like, Daniel, I'm so lonely. Like they would always, I'd end up becoming their therapist, like talk therapist, because
Mm.
I'd end up talking to them about relationships and what was going on with them. And I'd be like, gosh, you're such a good guy. You have so much to offer. Like, I would love to connect you with someone if you're okay with it. And they'd be like, oh my God, please, like, do you know anyone that's single? And
Mm.
I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. And so I was a massage therapist, and yet I was connecting my clients to love. And then,
Yeah.
the next career, same thing happened. I helped start a nonprofit for HIV and AIDS that ended up turning from a few guys to hundreds of guys to thousands of guys. And in that community, we had beach days and movie nights and we had potlucks and big events and concerts, all kinds of really fun things that we all did together. And basically what it was a group where guys could hang out. They were either HIV positive or they were on PrEP, but everybody in the group was educated and they understood. There was no stigma. So it felt like this really safe space where about 15 years ago, to have HIV or AIDS was actually a lot different. There was a lot more stigma around it. People
Yeah.
didn't want to date you, they didn't want to have sex with you, they were afraid. And so that's why me and my friend created this group, because the only thing they had back then was like these like really like depressing support groups that were not fun to go to. And so we created this thing, and then within that group, guys would, of course, they all knew me. I talked to everybody. That's just who I am. And they would be
Mm.
like, "Hey, Daniel, do you know anybody in the group that's single that like I could talk to, or maybe that I would vibe with, or that I would connect with?" And I'd be like, "Yes, I think I do." And we had marriages and long-term relationships and
Yeah.
all of these things blossom from that. And then I got into real estate. Same thing happened. Sold someone a
That's
house.
a that's a bit of a shift.
I know, yeah. So like every career, it just kept happening. And
Mm.
in real estate, they're like, I remember the last time I sold someone a house, he's like, "Hey, I would pay you anything if you could like set me up with somebody." And he was a gay guy, and I'm like, "Sure, I know some people. I have like a large network."
Yeah.
Then boom, and then that's when I got thrown into matchmaking. I connected with a matchmaker. He's like, "Hey, I know someone that's starting their own business, like as a
Mm.
gay matchmaker. I think you'd be really good at this." I'm not doing it anymore. I'm becoming a chef. He was the top gay matchmaker in Los Angeles. His name is um, Glenn Mason, or Mason Glenn, and
Yeah.
he owned this company called the Gay Matchmaking Club. And anyways, so that's how I got my start, and that's me. And I'm passionate about love. I'm passionate about connecting people, and I feel like the universe has like guided me here so many times that there was no way I could deny it anymore. I had to connect people. I had to start
Yeah.
matchmaking, and now it's my career. So
Yeah. I want to hear more about the matchmaking and the what it entails and what you do, because I've got very maybe quaint ideas about what matchmakers are and the services that it is just from TV and movies, but I've never seen or spoke to one at any length. So what is it for you? What do you do?
So when it comes to matchmaking, matchmaking is an experience. One, what I find is when I have conversations with men that are on the apps or online or dating on their own, they're dating with basically no filter. There's no vetting, there's no filter. They usually don't know what they're getting, and they're wasting tons and tons of time. I mean, people are spending anywhere from 30 to 45 hours a month on apps right now. That's the
Yeah.
average. And that's not to get like tons of dates every week. That's like we're talking like maybe one to like a few dates a month, spending
Yeah.
that much time. Because what I found is that everybody is that's on the apps, they're on to the next, on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. And some of them will be gone off the apps for weeks or months, or so the amount of messages that are going back and forth between the hundreds of messages and the messages that actually turn into a date, the percentage is so low. It's like 3 to 5%. of the
Yeah,
messages that you
wow.
actually turn into a date, from a phone number to a date to all of that. So that's what I've
Is
found.
this across the board, like hetero dating sites as well as gay sites, or are you talking specifically about gay dating sites?
I'm talking about gay dating specifically. I think the ratio might be a little bit higher when it comes to the heterosexual world, just because there's a lot more, right? There's a lot more options. Most of the apps and
Sure.
stuff started hetero, and they had like
Yeah.
a small bit of gay, and now there's a little bit bigger, but like there isn't so much. So as a matchmaker, the men that come to me are typically successful in their own right. They've done a lot of emotional work, and the number one criteria is that they're ready to find their person, and they're ready for love. They're tired of all of the things that they've been trying, and they come to us because either privacy is super important and they don't want to be online, they don't want to show themselves, or they're they're just tired of that process and they want an expert help them. They want an expert to do the job for them. I mean, they hire trainers to get their body right. They have a doctor to help them with their physical body, of like if anything's wrong with them, and they have a lawyer to help them with any legal issues. So they understand the value of outsourcing and having a professional help them with, hey, like, love life is important too. You don't have to do it on your own. Matchmaking has been around thousands of years, and that's what we do. We filter out everyone that's not ready for a relationship, which is 90% of what you're going to find on the dating app. Is most of the people, they're either not ready, or they just don't really know what they want, or they don't know what they're looking for. And so that is where matchmaking is so different, because we're doing intense filtering. Like, we will vet 15 to 20 guys for every one that we present for our clients, just ensuring only the best make the cut to meet them. So we'll go through their social media. We'll make sure that they're Googleable. We'll sit down with them. Like, I'll have a coffee or meet them in person or meet them over Zoom. Make sure they still look like their pictures. Make sure they're authentic. Make sure they are serious about a relationship, that they're employed and they have their life. I always say they have their shit together. I make sure that they have their shit together, so that when my clients come to me, I can literally be like, hey, I have it happen all the time where I put them in front of the first person I introduce them to, and they end up in a relationship, because there's so many bad ones out there that finally they meet someone that is in alignment with what they're looking for, that actually wants a real relationship, and boom, it's like, it happens a lot where I introduce them, and as long as they've done the work themselves and they're actually ready for a relationship, then it's the chances are so much higher with a matchmaker, I'll tell you that.
Like, just from the stats that you were saying, that's like another full-time job, just going through the apps searching for somebody. Like, hearing that stat, I would instantly be like, please, somebody else do this to me. Like, I don't have time to add a full-time job to find somebody or find love when you guys have that service. Like, I'd be jumping straight onto you. Not that I'm a gay guy, I can't really be that, but I could try. But like, it's such a great service to have, and also then it helps. Like, do you find clients come to you with an idea of what they want, but then you help broaden their perspective on, like, reaching those little bits that maybe they didn't think about what they wanted in a love life?
Yeah, so when clients come to me, looking for someone, typically they've had a lot of rejection, over time. And a lot of men that come to me are in their 40s, 50s, sometimes 60s. My oldest client's actually 83. He's getting married this year with someone we introduced him to. It's going to
Well
be
done.
actually featured in Pride magazine. So they're doing an interview with him and with us, and it's pretty cool.
That's nice.
Yes.
So when people come to you, so you have this one idea where you're like, I'm looking for somebody who wants X, Y, and Z, except when they start talking to you guys, you come up with some extra things they may not have thought of. Is that quite common for you guys to have?
Oh, yeah. Because the person that they think that they're going to end up with is typically not the person that they're going to end up with. And it's because, like I was saying, like there's so much rejection that happens, right? And when all of that happens, you start to build the list. Oh, I don't want a person that doesn't have this. I don't want a person that doesn't have this. I don't want a person, so they're like, I need someone. Okay, I met a guy that was uneducated, so I don't want to go on a date with somebody uneducated anymore. Oh, I met a guy that made less than $100,000 a year, and he couldn't fit, with all of the things that I need. And so I want someone that makes $150,000 or $200,000 a year minimum, And so what happens is, like, because of these bad experiences with dating with people that weren't in alignment with them, they start to create this list, and the list grows and grows and grows until it just becomes subconscious. And when they go on the date, they're like checking these boxes off the entire time instead of going. And so what I get clients to do and what I coach them to do is to focus on being more curious about the person instead of like making sure the box is checked off in their head, like just being more curious, having more fun, and saying to themselves, how's this person making me feel? Do I feel good? Do I feel like I can be myself? Do I feel safe? Do I feel like I'm alive when I'm with them? Or do I feel unsafe? Do I feel scared? Do I feel like I can't be myself? Like, how do I feel around this person? Because really, ultimately, it's not going to be about the checklist. It's going to be about how the person in front of you is making you feel. And the more present you are and the less you're thinking about this long, rigid checklist in the back of your mind, the better the date's going to go, the more it's going to flow. And yeah, so clients, to answer, clients always come to me with all of these ideas of what they want, and I have to shift their focus back to how do they make you feel,
Yeah, that's a really good one.
That's constantly.
I love that. Go for it. You had a question?
Oh no, I was just I think it's the framing of like more of it's a positive way of looking at a problem or an issue that you're facing, rather than it's like, instead of thinking I don't want that, I'm looking for someone who does these kinds of things. Have apps and all this dating technology, how has it changed the landscape for you in the gay community and the queer community overall?
The apps have completely changed things, and I think it's changed across the board with the heterosexual community too. I mean, most of the men that come to me are complaining. They're like, the apps have ruined it for me. They've had to delete the app and then re-download it, because in the queer world on the dating apps, there's only a finite number of people that are available in your city that meet your criteria, right? And so once you've maxed out, which people come to me all the time and they've maxed out the amount of people that they can meet on these apps, you have to delete the app or delete your profile, recreate a new one, and then start the whole messaging process all over again.
Just so you can try and find newer people or different people, just to because it's obviously starting to build a profile on you, and it's not showing you things.
Exactly.
Right.
I would say too, just to further that, is that there's not only dating apps, right? There's sex apps.
Yeah.
Especially in the gay world, it's like you got the dating app and the sex app. They're both open, and it's like you're not getting the responses on the dating app, so you just are like, oh, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna get laid tonight. And then that becomes a habit again, where you're just like, oh, you know what, I'm not getting what I want off of these dating apps or online, so I'll just focus on getting laid. And then like what happens to a lot of men is they completely lose sight of what they really want, which is a long-term relationship. Hey, there's nothing wrong with getting laid.
Yeah.
Like, go have fun, like fuck around, whatever you want, like cool. But if you really want a relationship and your ideal is to, fall asleep next to somebody and you're splitting your focus between the two apps constantly, and usually the sex app is winning.
Yeah.
That can become a problem, and that's where I think the apps have really ruined it, for especially for gay, bi, queer, trans, men in general, because like, hey, let's just say, like, okay, when it comes to hetero relationship, there's a man and there's a woman, right? Most of the time, the men are like the ones that are like, let's have sex.
Yeah.
Like, they're like the driving force. And I mean, sometimes the women are too. I mean, there's horny women, of course. I mean, obviously, it's not, gender specific, but like when it comes to men, it's like two men with all this testosterone. So, like, of course, like the addiction to a sex app is going to become more prevalent. Like, it's going to sort of take over a little bit more in the gay community. So I do see this problem a lot where people just completely lose focus, and then that losing focus they start losing hope too. They start losing hope that there is anyone out there for them, even if they're a good-looking guy. I mean, it's crazy. Like, some of the guys that come to me, they're good looking, they're successful, they have their shit together, but the apps, no luck. Like, no luck. So it's not just your lonely, boring guy that's like, on the dating apps that's not having any luck.
Yeah.
It's everybody across the board.
I've got some questions about like the queer relationships in general, but before I've just got to do a quick message from one of our sponsors. So Flirt Adult Stores here in Australia, and particularly Sydney, support this show. You can jump onto their website, flirtadultstore.com.au, get yourself some adult goodies, some toys, clothing, bondage gear, and bring it on to the club. Use the code SECRET15, that's SECRET15, to get 15% off your order at checkout. Thanks to Flirt for supporting the show. Daniel.
Back to the fun part.
Back to the fun part. So zooming out just a little bit about queer relationships in general, is I wanted to ask about like stereotypes that you've encountered, and maybe ways that it's dealt with, or you just would like to debunk. Is like some of the misconceptions. What are some big misconceptions that people have about the queer community? And I think if I'm using a lens to this question, it's just like, from the hetero community looking towards the queer community, what are those misconceptions that you often feel come across?
Yeah, I think that the misconceptions that I would say the LGBTQ community gets in general, especially men, is that they think that all men are just non-monogamous and they don't want to commit to a real long-term relationship, and they just want to have sex everywhere and sex with everyone and everything. And it's like
just an orgy field everywhere. Just an orgy. Gotta love an orgy.
Yeah, like there's literally orgies all over the place. Like you can't cross the stop sign in West Hollywood without falling over someone in an orgy.
I mean, that makes sense. That's what the walking man's for. He goes green and goes red when you have to stop in the right position.
Exactly. But so there really is this misconception that that gay men are just all about sex, and there's like and there's no real relationships in the gay community. Now, not everybody thinks that, obviously, but there is this common misconception that even in real loving relationships or men that get married in the gay world, there's no monogamy. Everything is sex positive, and everybody's polyamorous, and everybody just does whatever they want and flies around and flirts with everybody and fucks with everybody and puts their holes in everybody's holes and peepees in everybody's whatever. There's penises and balls and all that going all over the place, and no stopping it. But that's not the truth. The truth is that I would say in my experience, most of the men I talk to, I would say over 90%, I'm surprised, want a monogamous relationship.
What's a lot of effort to have an orgy every
And
day.
I know, right?
Like, I don't have the stamina to have an orgy once a week, let alone like the expectation of that stereotype and you guys having to have sex every time you meet another guy. You'd have the best cardio though.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, I wish I could have that much sex. I mean, that'd be great, but
I wish we had time for all of that. Oh my gosh. Like,
right? I think yeah, I think that I mean, I do know some of my friends, that do have sex every single day with different people most of the time. And hey, nothing wrong with that. I'm in no judgment of that, but most of the men I talk to that really want a relationship, they want a monogamous relationship. Do I believe in monogamy? I don't believe in sexual monogamy. Not for me, not for myself. I do believe in emotional monogamy. I do believe in like having a commitment with someone and falling in love. I'm in love right now myself, so I know what it's like to be in love and to want to commit to that person because you love them so deeply and unconditionally. But am I going to want to have sex with that person forever? Like, no. But I do think that there is a major misconception of what people think when this huge, massive majority of the queer community just wants a normal life. They just want to have a partner to lay down with. They just want to have a partner to watch movies with, to do experiences with, and travel with, and cuddle with at night, and wake up in the morning and then bring them a cup of coffee naked, like.
Nice.
I like the little add in, they have to be naked to bring the coffee, otherwise it doesn't taste as good. Is that why?
Yeah. I mean, they might like put a little cream in the coffee, like a little foam on top, and then serve it. There's a lot of protein in there,
Yeah.
and it's a protein coffee at that point.
Yeah,
So
it just turns into a shake. It's a protein shake. It's much better.
Pre-workout.
It's a pre-workout. Look, I get my coffee delivered to me every morning, but maybe I might need to tell my husband to do it naked. I think I like that idea. Minus the protein extra. I do like the naked idea.
So on relationships, and when you're talking about, 90% of, queer men, want a long-term monogamous relationship, what are some things then that in your experience are different in queer relationships for the better that, you wish was a little bit more commonplace in other relationships, like hetero relationships? You might be seeing like, if everyone did this, relationships might be in a better spot.
I think that relationships would be so much in a better place if the hetero world would just have a little bit more open mind in regards to not everyone is going to want to have sex with the same person for the rest of their life. I mean, it's just so simple. And there's so many divorces because, the man or the woman cheats in the relationship. And it's like, well, what did they really do though when they cheated? And like most of the time, it's not that they're trying to date someone else. It's just they wanted a fling. They wanted like a little thing. And, I think that in the queer community, even though most of the men that do come to me really do want monogamy, I do ask them, I'm like, but would you be open to in the next like few years to opening things up if you guys both came to that conclusion? And typically they're like, yeah, you know what? I would be open to the idea of it. But if you ask a straight relationship, a hetero relationship, most of the time they're not even open to the idea at all. And I get it. Like, I know that a woman, the way that it works in women, like in the scientifically, is that they fall in love very quickly with sex. So where men don't, they can separate the two a lot easier, but women have a lot harder time because it hits different receptors. I can't remember the exact study, but I know that for women there's a lot more emotion involved in sex. So when it comes to like two men, it's like we get it. Like we're primal, we're carnal. We want to like we want to fuck, you know. So,
Yeah, make the man classification.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, well, we get a club full of women who may put that to a challenge, that study. I don't know. I've not. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to ask why I mean, you sort of answered why that is more of a normal conversation to have. It's just like, are you open to other kinds of just more than just a purely monogamous relationship until fucking death do us part kind of thing? What can be taught to the monogamous people? I don't know.
To the normies.
Do you think is a conversation that could be had if you had to sit down with heterosexuality if you could put it all into one entity in one being? How would you converse this to the hetero
world?
Yeah, going. Y'all need to think of it like this.
yeah, I mean, if I were to talk to all the heteros in one person, right? It's almost like one consciousness that came together in one consciousness, and I'm like, okay, y'all, I'm gonna talk to you all right now, like right here, right now. Here we go.
Open your knowledge pipe.
Get your shit together. Let's do it.
You know, I'm like all spiritual and stuff, so I think of consciousness. Like we're all one, right? So like, think of one consciousness talking to one person. I would say that unconditional love is supposed to be unconditional. So if you really truly love someone unconditionally, why are you having a condition for the way that they feel? So if a man wants to go out and have sex with another person after you guys have built this trust and you really love each other and are so committed and there's no doubt about it, right? If you love each other unconditionally, why are you giving each other conditions? What is the point of that? That's not true. That's not deep, true love. That's jealousy. That's being, that's being jealous. That's insecurity. That's fear. Those are emotions that are negatives. Why not love each other unconditionally and talk it through and figure out what it would look like, how it would look? What if you even watched, or participated, but what if that made your relationship better?
Yeah.
What if instead of your husband or your wife thinking about this other person, you let them, because you've already established that trust. You already know that they love you deeply. You've already established that commitment with each other. You know that they don't want to leave you and you don't want to leave them. So why not give them that space, talk about it, have a conversation around it, and try to really understand each other and why you feel like you need that. And sometimes maybe even just having the conversation, you may not want it anymore. But if you don't try to understand the other person and what they're going through and how horny they are, I mean, come on, like, we're always thinking of other people. Like, you can't, I don't care, like, how in love you are with somebody, like, it's not going to completely take away that there's other people out there that are hot and sexy and that you want to fuck. So, like, that's what I gotta say to anyone, whether it's hetero, LGBTQ, whatever it is. It's like, yes, I do believe in establishing trust first and really understanding whether this is that type of commitment first. Like, are we deeply committed to each other? Do we want to be together? Like, do we want this? Do we want, like, this more than anything? Would we give up things for this relationship because it's that important? You know what I mean? At that point, it's like, then you, like, what do you got to lose? The only thing you're losing is this idea that your partner wants to be with somebody else.
Yeah.
But really, they just want to get off.
Yeah.
They just want a nice fuck.
That's the truth.
Well, as you say, like, it's way more. I think it's just like a normalized conversation in the queer community. I mean, we've sort of touched on why, and I think, like, from the you know, from a participant in the hetero community, you know, and I'm openly non-monogamous in my relationship, but you know, it's definitely, obviously, as you know, not the norm. There's a lot of stigma around that kind of relationship and what it must mean for you and your partner and how you must feel about them. So yeah, I mean, obviously it'd be awesome if that kind of stigma was not the case with everyone. And it is great that the queer community is just I don't know, it feels like they're in a couple of decades more advanced in terms of like, no, this is not about diminishing the value of the relationship. This is just about our desires and wanting to live out these desires together rather than in spite of each other. And on that, the point of stigma, it brings me to one of our next sponsors is Stigma Health. So
did you say the word stigma on purpose?
a little bit. Yes,
I love that.
Stigma is an online platform that allows you to get your sexual health screenings done online without needing to visit a doctor. You can just jump online to the service, fill out the details, and in a few minutes you'll have a order form for a pathology request, and then you can go to the pathology office, get your blood test done, results back to your account in a few days. If you use code
Secret Spot 20. Mm-hmm. Yay! Just go one for once. Hell yeah.
If you use promo code SecretSpot20, you'll get 20% off your order. You can also multi-buy your referrals, so you can save even more there. So thank you to Stigma Health.
In this Just a Tip, we're calling it the Queer Community Tips. Brilliant advice or absolute chaos. So I'm going to read out some real relationship and sex advice sourced from queer communities online, such as Reddit, TikTok forums, memes, other communities, etc. Okay. Mm-hmm. You guys can then decide if you think, based upon the nuances of this advice, is it good advice or is it just quite chaotic and not the best kind of advice? Okay. And then explain why. In your own experience, speaking from experiences, especially you, Daniel, your experience and knowledge and expertise is greatly appreciated.
Yes. You can help
Agent
us
of
out
chaos or like, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to read them out now.
Okay.
So number 1, chemistry without compatibility is just anxiety. And this was sourced from Mark Manson relationship essays, TikTok relationship creators and queer dating discourse, as well as bold relationship compatibility articles.
So
did you say Mark Manson?
Yeah.
This is absolute chaos.
Wait, did you say, chemistry is what?
So chemistry without compatibility is just anxiety. And I'll read a little bit more about
is he an anxious person? Is this why?
Well, let me read a little bit more about what this means. So a widely shared relationship phrase in queer dating and therapy sessions discuss the differences between intense attraction and genuine emotional alignment, often used in conversations around attachment styles, toxic dating cycles, and emotionally unavailable partners. So they're labeling this as chemistry without compatibility is just anxiety.
Or lead to anxiety.
Or leads to anxiety.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, Daniel, maybe?
Yeah, chemistry without compatibility. Yes, I mean, it can lead to anxiety. It could be because you are an anxious attachment person. Typically, anxiously attached people, they go after avoidance because they're being avoided. So they're trying harder and they're mistaking the chase for chemistry. They're mistaking, like, I'm gonna keep going after this person. Oh, this is chemistry. I get this feeling inside of me. I'm feeling something. I'm feeling like, oh, I need to go after him, So like they mistake chemistry for compatibility, but it's not real compatibility.
Yeah.
And as well, I would say that the chemistry thing, especially with gay men, they think, oh my God, I'm having chemistry because I want to fuck him. Like I want to have sex with this person right now. He's so sexy, and what it ends up is that's not real compatibility, that you're just attracted to that person. You know what I mean? So I would say that typically it does lead to anxiety later if there really is no compatibility.
Most relationship dramas are based on this.
Yeah.
In TVs and movies where it's like, it's
in like sitcoms and stuff.
it's like the most tragic ones is just like it leads into just the worst parts of humanity, where it's like, whoops.
So chaos. It's definitely chaos.
So we're all
saying,
voting chaos, or
Chaos. 100% chaos.
Wait, hang on. Are we saying that results in chaos, or the advice is chaos?
I mean, I would think that two are somewhat related in a sense. It's chaos-inducing advice.
It's not bad advice.
I would say it's good advice, but yes, the result is typically chaos.
Yeah, like it's not bad to like maybe help them self-reflect on who they are as a personality.
Or just understanding making the demarcation between chemistry and compatibility. It's like, as we spoke about earlier, Daniel, it's like if tonight is like the night I'm out just for a fuck, then all I'm looking for is chemistry. I don't actually need to say like, do we share life goals and the same, financial aspirations, blah, 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 blah. Who cares? I'm just here to,
Does your dick work? So does mine. Let's do it.
All right. Well, point number 2 then. Okay. This is an interesting one that I read through sources such as Reddit dating advice communities, psychology and attachment theory discussions, and modern relationship podcasts and therapy creators. People often mistake emotional unavailability for confidence. A reoccurring idea in queer dating conversations about avoidant attachment, emotionally distant partners, and attraction to cool, quote unquote, cool, detached personalities that can actually signal emotional immaturity.
That was like a mouthful.
I know, it's a lot.
I'm just going to start with that. That was a lot in that. Because I think half of that's chaos and the other half isn't.
Yes. Well, the main point was people often mistake emotional unavailability for confidence. Is that something you've observed yourself, Daniel?
That's true.
Yeah. Oh, totally. It's like, oh, they don't need a relationship, or they don't need anything. Their life is so full and so big, and they have so many friends, and they have so much going on, and they don't, they'll text me when they're free. They'll text me when they have time because they're busy and they have things going on, and they have, it's like, and so they mistake this idea with this unavailable person that's actually just unavailable as, oh, they're sexy and attractive because they've got things going on and they've got things to do and they're popular, and so they're like, oh yeah, that's confident, that's hot, that's sexy. And it's like, no, actually, the reason why they're communicating with you in that way, in an avoidant way, is because they're avoidant and they're actually emotionally unavailable. It's not because they're confident and they're hot and they're popular. It's that they don't know how to communicate. And they don't, and that's the other part of it. It's like people gotta really look at themselves and say, hey, look, is this person actually am I pursuing someone that's really just not that into me? And do I need to like have some self-love here and say, okay, like I need to move on past this. I need to stop chasing this person that's never gonna want me the way that I want them. You want someone that's gonna embrace you. You want someone that's gonna love you for chasing them, love you for, they're going to fall in love with you chasing them. They're going to fall in love with you being the person that you are, even if it's a little crazy or a little kooky or a little extra romantic. They're going to fall in love with that extra romantic person. They're going to fall in love with that type. But if they're avoiding it, then they don't really love all of you, and they may never.
So brilliant advice. We're going with brilliant advice.
Well, it's yeah, I don't know. My brain then started to think about like, what about the opposite, where people start love bombing? Like, is that almost as similar, where they're being avoidant, but then the others who don't know how to satisfy their own needs, so they love bomb other people to get the satisfaction from them. So I'm like, I don't know if it is the best advice, or if it's chaos, or if I'm just chaos and I'm thinking of it as chaos. It could be that. It could be the latter. Yeah. We'll probably go with me thinking it's chaos, but...
This game's designed to not be that straightforward. I think the nuance is what's the discussion that makes it interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I've got one last one.
Yeah.
And this one is definitely in line with Pride Month, and I particularly like this point. So The sources are from queer relationship educators, certain doctorates and whatnot. A lot of LGBTQIA plus therapy discussions, polyamory and communication frameworks, as well as academic discussions around queer relationship structures. And the quote is, "The strongest queer relationships are built on communication because there's no default script. A common observation from queer relationship educators and therapists that are of the queer community, couples are often required to intentionally discuss boundaries, exclusivity, roles, and expectations rather than relying on traditional heteronormative assumptions. Hence, there's no default script, and that's why certain relationships in the queer community are so strong, because they are built on that kind of communication."
Well, it sounds accurate, and so I mean I would lean towards saying this is probably, I mean it's not really advice, it's just sort of like this is sort of a distinction between the sort of the two communities in this way, as a major point of difference. So I mean the advice there is like, don't make assumptions about your relationship or the person that you're thinking of getting a relationship into. Have the conversation. So I would say brilliant advice. That's my 2 cents. I'll pass it over to everyone else. The floor is yours, everyone.
No, I agree. I think it's right. I think it's I think even monogamous relationships could take some of that advice, where don't expect it to be what the cover is. Like, have a conversation, make the contents your relationship together rather than expecting the already set stereotypes that there are. Because I think that's where we all fall into the big issues of, well, this is what it should be. And it's like, well, that doesn't work for you and that other person. So it shouldn't be what it's expected. It should be what was discussed.
Do you think that is also aligned and probably quite reliant on, say, and maybe this is more for Daniel, in relation to somebody's emotional maturity? So obviously you're working with a lot of people and doing matchmaking and whatnot. Do you find that those people who are serious about those longer term relationships are open to that kind of communication and being a lot clearer in how they discuss things like monogamy and, you know, who they're allowed to be with or what they're allowed to do or how they communicate things?
Yeah, I think that communication is so key when it comes to queer relationships, because in the hetero world, we model our relationships off of our parents, but our parents are typically hetero. You know what I mean? So where do we model our relationships when it comes to the LGBTQ community? Because it's two men or it's two women, you know, and or it's two transgender people, or, you know, and so what are we modeling our relationship from? We're typically modeling it off of this idea that, you know, what America was built on. Well, God is first, and marriage, and you should have kids, and you should go by the Bible, and, you know, like, and that's what it is. And it's like, well, actually, no, it's not. And you know, that's a made up idea that we've created. It's just a story that we've been telling for so long. And in the queer community, I feel like one of the special things about being queer is like, oh, we get to make our own rules. We get to create this. We can create this. It doesn't have to be this idea of something, you know, most queer men that I talk to aren't super religious. Some are, but like most of them are not. And if you're not, you sort of like understand this idea that this whole sort of marriage concept was created from religion, basically. And this idea of monogamy and all of these things were created out of religion and out of fear. And now we get to recreate what we want. We get to recreate what, and if you can have those, if you're emotionally mature enough to be able to have those open conversations, it's so beautiful and it's so freeing, and it's such an amazing way to be able to express yourself to your partner and really let them know like what is going on in your head and what's going on in your head about this idea. Like maybe you guys align in different ways, or maybe you compromise and figure something out that works best.
Yeah.
Not everybody in the queer community wants to actually get married or have kids or, have that typical relationship that everybody has. Some of them don't want to even live together.
Mm.
Some of them want to travel the world together and then live in their separate places. There's more queer relationships with different ideas of relationships now that I find really beautiful because they're just discovering now. They get to discover and figure out like what is the best thing for them. Whereas there's this old idea, and I think the heterosexual community is also starting to see this like through Burning Man and through festivals and through like being free and all of these things, like starting to discover that this old idea of this is traditional, this is the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to get married, you're supposed to go to church, you're supposed to have kids, and you're supposed to be monogamous and be with only that person forever, never, never, never. And that's how it goes.
Yeah.
That's an old idea, and it's crashing. It's crashing.
Yeah. The queer community is solving for why rather than what's always been. Let's challenge traditional assumptions. And then, I think there'd probably be a much better way to live if you're just always interrogating why rather than just saying, well, I don't know, it's just because we've always done it like this.
Yeah.
No, innovation doesn't come from, that's just the way we've always done it. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up on that point. Before we sign off for the episode, Daniel, would you like to share anything that you want people to find out about, where they can get in touch with you, anyone who might be interested in your services, even if they're here in Australia or they're living in the US?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, if you've been looking for your partner, whether you're looking to invest or not, in working with a matchmaker, come to me. Come check us out. Go to bestmanmatchmaking.com or go to my social, Matchmaker Daniel Cooley, at Matchmaker Daniel Cooley. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on all the things, YouTube, everything. And say hi, reach out, even if you just have a question. Like, the reason why I got into this is because I want the whole community, the whole queer community to find love. I want the LGBTQ community to be able to find love. And if you have a question, I'm here for you. And if you want to see what it looks like working with a matchmaker and how much fun we can have together, please, reach out. Go to bestmanmatchmaking.com, click get started, or go to my Instagram and click on my profile or send me a message and let's start a conversation. Let's see where, what we can do. And for Pride Month, happy Pride, everybody. I'm going to have a booth at West Hollywood Pride. So if you go to Pride this weekend, it's going to be there. And I have a mixer this month on the 16th at Maddie's in West Hollywood. A singles mixer. It's free. We're going to have prizes. We're going to do it with LA Blade Magazine. I think KTLA is covering it. So you guys come out. Come support. Be a part of the community.
We love a good little mingle.
Speaking of how much fun you can have, we want to just give a quick mention to our Patreon account. So if you want to come and join us there, we have extra sexy, dirty bonus content, raunchy recaps, raunchy readings and stuff like this. Big thank you to our spicy members, Ben P, David G and Ryan, and all our naughty members are on screen now somewhere here, maybe. I'm not sure. Let us know what you thought about this episode. Send us a message or make a comment on the actual episode itself in Spotify or Apple. You can, like I said, DM us or send us a VM. We might play it on the episode as well.
That's a mouthful. Thank you so much, Daniel, for coming on. That was such a nice, insightful way to introduce a matchmaker, because we don't have a lot of those here in Australia, or at least I've not encountered many. So it was really interesting to hear all about it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And I think there's someone that I need to introduce you to. She is the E&M matchmaker. She's based in Chicago. She owns Birds of a Feather. She's one of the only. So I'm a part of the Matchmakers Alliance. We have matchmakers across the country. The top matchmakers. I mean, on TV shows and they're big, write books, all of that. I know literally all of them. So if you want to interview any other matchmakers, I'm happy to send them your way. But I would definitely recommend for what you guys talk about. Her name is Victoria, and she owns Birds of a Feather Matchmaking, and it's one of the only E&M matchmaking companies I know about.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
wow.
Definitely. I would love to talk to
Yes,
Victoria.
definitely.
She's so badass, and her husband, they're both ethically non-monogamous, and they go to sex parties, and they're very open about it, and she's really cool. I'll send you some clips of a podcast she did with matchmaker Maria. She wrote the book Ask a Matchmaker, and she owns Agape Match. She's huge. Anyways,
Awesome.
Amazing. Well,
Yeah,
we can't wait.
We'll make a note of that one.
Yes, so get games on that one for us.
Thanks, everyone. Don't forget to spank the subscribe button, and we'll hopefully check you out or see you at the club. Stay sexy, everyone. Bye.
Bye.